Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to have all sorts of features, all sorts of crazy features from previous Rockstar games. And today in this video, I'm going to talk about those features and what we can expect from the older Rockstar games titles in Grand Theft Auto 6. So this video is kind of inspired by a previous video I did about 10 features that you could expect to see in Grand Theft Auto 6. If you haven't watched that yet, now's your chance, or you could watch it after this one, whatever. But anyways, let's get into it, guys. This video is based off like leaks, insider reports, trailer analysis, and even community research. And hey, everyone is an internet sleuth when it comes to Grand Theft Auto 6. This is based off all of that combined together. So let's get into some of this stuff and start off with the first one, which is the most obvious, and that is a massive vehicle roster. So in Grand Theft Auto 6, you're going to see more vehicles than you've ever seen in any other Grand Theft Auto game, and maybe even all of them combined. I'm talking like sedans, sports cars, jet skis, fishing boats, river boats, all sorts of boats, yachts, realistic traffic density as well across regions. In Grand Theft Auto 4, for example, the traffic was kind of pretty much the same everywhere you would go, and I think even in Grand Theft Auto 5 it was like that. But this time, in this game, in Grand Theft Auto 6, depending on where you're at, there's going to be different traffic density. So if you go out in the sticks, expect nothing. If you go in cities, it's going to be crowded. And I mean, if you go play San Andreas, yeah, you'll see different vehicles out there in the sticks, but you know, you'll see relatively the same traffic density that you would see inside the city. So this time, expect there to be kind of a really immersive and realistic amount of traffic density depending on where you're going. Urban areas are going to be dense and crowded. Rural areas are going to be sparse. All right, so this next thing, expect a crap ton of vehicle customization, obviously, right? I feel like that's really all I need to say about that, but there's going to be a ton of vehicle customization in this game. Really, that could be an entire video of its own. Maybe I'll save that for later, and we'll go ahead and move on to this next thing, which is evolving police and wanted system. So law enforcement is now going to kind of like hunt you. So they're going to be smarter, more intelligent. They're not going to pursue you the way that they kind of mindlessly did in older titles like Zombies. They're going to recognize repeat offenders. There's going to be witness descriptions. So in Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5, people had to call the police on you and they would pop up, but now you're going to have witnesses like Red Dead Redemption 2. And not only that, but there's going to be witness descriptions. So you're going to have to change how you look. There's going to be security cameras even, maybe facial recognition. So there's also going to be disguises. And this will really give you a reason to change how your character looks other than just doing it to do it. You're also going to be able to surrender like you can in Red Dead Redemption 2. And there's going to be an authentic police response time. So in Grand Theft Auto 5, if you step out of line just a little bit, all of Los Santos Police Department is on you. And that might have kind of been them spoofing on LAPD a little bit. And if so, they did an excellent job because it was very annoying. But this time you can expect realistic police response times, maybe even fewer police after you at a given time until you get up in those later stars. But expect the police that do come after you to be more well-equipped, scarier, and very capable of taking you down. Moving on to this next one, we're going to have dynamic stores in malls. So you're going to see stores pop up and disappear as time goes on. There's going to be a bunch of different interiors. You know, that's something I loved about Grand Theft Auto 4 was all the interiors. They didn't have too many, but they had a lot. And then 5, I feel like they kind of took a step backwards. Like I couldn't go into Burger Shot and stuff like that. And I know that sounds small. Grand Theft Auto 5 did have a lot of interiors, but I don't think it had nearly as many as Grand Theft Auto 4. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. But there's also going to be stuff like functional malls with maybe stores that come and go as time goes on. But that kind of ties into something that I'm going to mention here in a little bit. But expect there to be a bunch of cool stores that are very dense and a lot of places to go into, very similar to Cyberpunk. So a lot of people over the years have always been like, man, when are we going to get to go into every single building and every single room? Well, let me tell you right now, you don't want to. That's incredibly boring. You want quality, not quantity. I think Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to deliver both quality and quantity with so many different stores and places to enter that are also going to be rich in detail while not allowing you to go everywhere. Next, we're going to have a weapon inventory overhaul. So in the alpha footage of this game, I was actually watching it recently, and I'm not going to share it here for obvious reasons, but imagine a circle, a weapon wheel, very similar to Red Dead Redemption 2 or Grand Theft Auto 5. At the top half of that circle, you're going to have 5 slots, and at the bottom of the circle, you're going to have 1. That 1 on the bottom, I presume, is like your inventory for small little objects, stuff like that. The top is going to allow you to choose a melee weapon, a sidearm, possibly 2 primaries, and a throwable weapon. And whatever weapons you're not using, you'll be able to store in your car and your trunk and swap out as time goes on, or maybe keep in your apartment, and you can only keep a certain amount in your car. I'm really excited to see what they do. They're going to make your car kind of your central hub, kind of like your horses in Red Dead Redemption 2. So I'm very excited to see how they do that. Moving on now, we're going to have a dual protagonist system. So that's very obvious, duh, right? But the reason I bring this up is because in Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the main criticisms people have with it is when you have those 3 protagonists, their different motivations and stuff can kind of start to feel lost on you, or you might not feel the connection with those characters that you do in, say, a previous Grand Theft Auto game. Well, this time, Jason and Lucia are a couple. They're together. So that is going to be an interesting way of experiencing 2 protagonists. We're going to get to learn about them through each other's eyes and in their own shoes. And I think that that is an excellent way of having multiple protagonists, is having them in a relationship because, you know, they love each other. So you're going to get to learn a lot about the 2 together. And I think that is quite a refinement from Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, look, there could still be a 3rd protagonist. There is kind of a mystery about who that could potentially be and if they're in the trailers already and we don't know about it. But also expect something like Grand Theft Auto 5's character switching to where you could switch to another character and they would end up doing something crazy or wacky. You know, I talk a lot of smack about Grand Theft Auto 5 on this channel, but that is something I absolutely loved about Grand Theft Auto 5 was all the different wacky stuff they would do when you would switch to them. So expect that in this game and to be fleshed out a bit more. Next, we have a chapter-based story structure, very much like Red Dead Redemption 2, where we have chapters. So expect like 5, 6, 7 chapters. Each one is going to feel a bit different, maybe even kind of echoing a different season, kind of like Red Dead Redemption 2. Every new place you went to was like a new season as well as a new location. So expect that progression too. Something that's big in Grand Theft Auto games that gives you the sense of really going on an adventure is going to a new place, staying there for a while, and then moving on to the next. Grand Theft Auto 5, they didn't do that, and that made the map feel really small, even though it was huge. So expect to see that return in this game. And not only that, but let's go ahead and get into this next mechanic. Other than just having chapters, you're also going to have buildings that are built and maybe even torn down over time. So long gone are the days of Grand Theft Auto 5's skyscraper never getting built, even though it's been 12 years now. Expect it to be like Red Dead Redemption 2, where you have buildings being built over time and they have maybe 4 or 5 different states that they're in over time until you finally see them finished based on a certain point of the story that you're in. So that will be tied to chapters, which is why I bring this up after the chapter-based story structure. But expect there to be different buildings that you're going to see brought up and maybe even torn down over time. And stuff like stores opening and closing during your time. Little shops and malls being there and being gone over time. It's going to be cool. Next, based off everything I've seen, we're going to have a Deadeye mechanic. Jason, expect him to have like a Deadeye mechanic and Lucia to have something else. Or maybe flip. One will probably be good at driving, one at shooting, yada yada, Starsky and Hutch style stuff. But you can for sure pretty much 100% expect there to be Deadeye/bullet time like in Max Payne. Next, expect a relationship meter. So if you watched my previous video, you know that Rockstar loves betrayal, and I think a relationship meter is the perfect way to incorporate that into this game. What do I mean by that? Well, in Red Dead Redemption 2, we had the honor meter, so player choices would directly affect that honor meter. You'd go low honor, high honor, all that kind of stuff, you get it, and it would shape the ending you got. Well, in this game, expect player choices to affect your relationship meter between Jason and Lucia. So by the end of the game, based on your choices, you may either end up needing to betray one another, so one character lives, one character dies, so that's 2 possible endings already. That or they both go out together, or they both live. So that's 4 possible endings that could happen based off of this relationship meter. So that's a really cool idea, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they implement that. Moving on to this next feature, this is something that every Rockstar game feels naked without, and that is a greet and antagonize system, and even a diffuse system. So that's also in Red Dead Redemption 2. Greet, antagonize, and diffuse. I cannot wait to go up to NPCs and just mess with them. There's nothing like going around holding down left trigger or L2 and just antagonizing NPCs or saying thank you or being like, hey bud, how's your day going? It's really fun and really cool. And I can't wait to see how they do that in Grand Theft Auto 6. You can pretty much guarantee it's going to be in there. If they were to just copy and paste Red Dead Redemption 2's greet and antagonize system, I would absolutely love it. Maybe with some more options on like dialogue, but let's see how they expand upon it. I'm very excited about that. Next on this list, based off the leaks and stuff, you can expect more Gore and Dismemberment. This one I'm a little bit more iffy on because I know in Grand Theft Auto games, they do try and dial back the violence compared to stuff like Red Dead Redemption, just based on the stuff that's going on out there in the world and unwanted media attention. I mean, you got to remember, as much as Rockstar Games acts like a Rockstar, they're also the biggest video game company when it comes to how much money they put into their games and how much they make on their investments. So, I think though that we're adults and we can handle it. So I'm hoping this one is true because frankly, I think that when you shoot someone, you should see the consequences of what that looks like in a game. And that might even kind of talk some people out of doing the sick stuff that they do in the world. I don't know. I'm getting a little off my rocker here, but I think that having those elements in the game, even if it is sickening to some extent, it is good to see that your actions do indeed have consequences. Even if you're, shooting in like defense or something like that in a video game, it gives weight to that decision. So that's all I'll say about that. Let's move on. Next, you can expect wildlife and hunting, very similar to Red Dead Redemption 2. Grand Theft Auto 5, it was kind of lacking, but look, they went really big in Grand Theft Auto 5, and so I can kind of forgive them on that. But if they were to copy and paste Red Dead Redemption 2's hunting system and wildlife system, I would be totally happy with that. But you can expect stuff like predators and unique details like wet animal fur like in Red Dead Redemption 2. The possibilities are kind of endless with Florida or Leonida. There's even talks of underwater fishing. Personally, I want to wrestle an alligator, so we'll see how that goes. Next is jumping between vehicles. So this is kind of like jumping between a horse to a horse or horse to wagon or wagon to horse or yada yada like you do in Red Dead Redemption 2. You can kind of see something like this in the trailers. Expect to be able to jump from a car to another car or a bike to a car and, being able to jump to other vehicles from a vehicle while driving, which is really cool. And I'm really looking forward to colliding with a pole mid-jump with the physics system. That's going to be really fun. Next, this is something we all love, random encounters. So Red Dead Redemption 2 has so many freaking random encounters. I must have put 5, 700 hours into that game, and I still have not seen every random encounter. I feel like there's a random encounter someone out there in the world has seen that the rest of us haven't. And that's incredible because it truly makes those encounters feel special and randomized. Now, sure, there's some that we all see, like the guy throwing rocks across the water. We see him grown up and Arthur gives him some relationship advice, but expect there to be so many random encounters in this game, more than we've ever seen before. All sorts of stuff and creepy stuff too. I'm really excited for this. The possibilities with the Florida Man stuff is just absolutely endless. Moving on, expect refined gunplay. So like slower, weightier third-person aiming and shooting, heavily influenced by maybe Max Payne a little bit, mixed with Red Dead Redemption 2, maybe even as snappy as Grand Theft Auto 5. So the weight of Red Dead Redemption 2, the impact of Red Dead Redemption 2, but the snappy responsiveness of Grand Theft Auto 5. Expect those things. I think the gunplay is going to be the best it has ever been in Grand Theft Auto 6, especially with how the police and everything are going to interact with you. I feel like if we're going to ever see tactical elements, this is going to be the time. So get excited about that. Next, expect interactive objects and environments. So being able to trigger interactions with small little trinkets and things and weird wacky doodads in the environment, or, you know, being able to pick up bricks and stuff like that and maybe throw them through a window like Grand Theft Auto 4. Just be prepared to reach out and touch your environment. Very similar to how in Red Dead Redemption 2 you can go in a store and pick up a can of beans and buy it. Well, now you can do that in Grand Theft Auto 6. So if you go to the convenience store and buy a pack of smokes, you can buy the pack of smokes, hold it in your hands, walk out the store with it, or you can go buy a 6-pack of beer and walk out the store with it, which will be really cool if they do implement the feature I mentioned in that previous video, which is a fuel system, which we haven't seen in a previous one, so not talking about that in this one. But let's go ahead and move on to something very much like a fuel system, and that's just mundane immersive activities in general. So expect all sorts of stuff, like a workout routine maybe, like CJ did in San Andreas, you know, to stay in shape. I think we're going to see skinny, fat, in shape, all sorts of that kind of stuff. Lucia, you know, it'll be funny to see if there's a playthrough where someone lets Jason and Lucia just absolutely let themselves go, and you know, it could happen. So who knows? It would be really funny. Or maybe they're just both like super freaking skinny. I don't know. It's going to be fun. People are going to have all sorts of fun with that, with the weight system in this game. But also something I thought was kind of interesting was Red Dead Redemption 2, they had the farm tasks and stuff like that, which kind of more tied into 1899 style living. But I did see Jason fixing his roof after what I think is either a tropical storm or a hurricane or something like that. So I'm almost curious if there's going to be kind of like a building maintenance thing in this game based off of what's going on with the weather. I'm a little curious to see what they do with that. And next, expect a bunch of stealth and psychological tension. Maybe nothing as crazy as Manhunt as far as the psychological tension goes, but as far as the stealth, you know, one of you guys left a comment on a previous video talking about how they need to bring going prone into this game, and I agree with you completely. If there's a Grand Theft Auto to do it, this is that Grand Theft Auto, especially because you know out there in the world there's a Florida doomsday prepper guy who's got a ghillie suit. So let us get our hands on a ghillie suit and a sniper rifle and go prone out there in the middle of the woods, and let us give orders to Lucia or Jason if you're playing as Lucia, and kind of have a tactical approach to every single mission we do, where we're maybe even issuing commands and having like Lucia do crowd control while Jason robs the place, you know, all sorts of stuff. Expect really cool features like that, and maybe even stuff like Metal Gear Solid 5, how you can approach each and every little mission or operation that you choose to do. Expect that in this, because Grand Theft Auto has always been about giving you a buttload of tools to accomplish your objective or your mission, and sometimes it's a little too on the rails, but I think in Grand Theft Auto 6 we're going to see some really interesting ways, more sandboxy ways of approaching things, which I know is kind of its own other thing, but I don't know, stealth kind of sent me down the rabbit hole and got me talking about that. You could see how just having a couple of systems like that together, they start to play off each other and really create something unique and special. So expect that, because this is, again, the most expensive game ever created, and it's been in development for 100 years. So it's going to be absolutely incredible, guys, when this game comes out. But what's a feature that you want to see in Grand Theft Auto 6? I know that there's something I definitely missed because there's just so many features in the older games. Let me know what you would like to see down in the comments below. And guys, I do read every single comment on my videos, and right now, at least up to this point, I respond to pretty much every single comment. So if you put a comment, I'll respond to you. Curious how long I can keep that going. But anyways, let's get that conversation going, because it's really cool to see you guys getting down in the comments and speculating about Grand Theft Auto 6 and me kind of hopping in on that excitement, and all of us just, I don't know, it's cool. It's like a community thing. It's really freaking cool making these videos, man. I see why people do this. Really reading y'all's comments is what inspires these videos and gives me the energy to keep making them, because they are a ton of work. So anyways, y'all are amazing. I hope you got something out of this video. Hope you found it helpful. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like. It would help me a lot. If you're interested in more Grand Theft Auto 6 coverage, stuff like that, go ahead and subscribe and join me on this crazy journey. If not, that's cool too. But anyways, guys, right here I've got 2 videos for you, and I'm probably going to do one as a Grand Theft Auto 6 video and one as something else, because I do make other stuff on this channel. And if you want to check that out, that's cool. If not, and if this is where we part ways, thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, night, week, year, whatever. Just stay safe out there in this dangerous world. Guys, we are so close to Grand Theft Auto 6. Stay safe. Peace.